Hi everybody, it's Oksana, and today I'm going to show you how to make these beach or ocean cabochons with resin, and they use sand and shells. These are ones I collected recently. We went to the beach with my family, so a nice way to preserve a memory as well of a vacation. And these ones with the swirlies also involve a little bit of alcohol ink. So if you want to see how to make these, then just keep watching. So the first thing I did is I mixed up my art resin, which is a 2-part resin, and I just did exactly follow the instructions, equal parts, mixed it, and I poured it. Some of these are extra projects that I have going on, so ignore those, but I poured it, just the clear resin, into some of my molds here. Not so that it covers the entire piece to the top, but just so there's room for me to do a second layer. And these green molds, these purple ones, ignore them. I made them myself, but I'm lucky a few of them came out good. Some of them came out terrible. That's why I'm not doing a tutorial on it. But the green molds are really nice, and they're from Family Molds on Etsy. So the next thing I'm going to do is get back here to my sand and shells that I brought home from the beach. And I'm just going to pick out some shells that I like that I want to put into those molds. So here are some that I picked out that I like. And what you're going to do is you're just going to pop them right into the resin. So you want to be able to see this front when you take out the cabochon. So when you put it in, you're going to put it in backwards like this. Just arrange them in the resin however you like. Alright, so I put all my shells in there. I tried to keep them on one side so that I can do sand on the next layer on the same side as the shells, and then just leave it clear perhaps on the other side, or maybe tint it blue in some cases so it kind of looks like the sand and the shells on the bottom and then the sky or whatever on the top, but you can do it however you want. So I'll be back to show you what things look like once this cures and is ready for another layer on top. Alright, so I mixed up another batch of resin, and I'm adding just the tiniest amount of ink. This is alcohol ink. That's what it looks like. It's kind of like a bluish green color. And if you put a whole drop in here, this is just a small amount of resin, it's going to be too much. So what I'm doing is I'm just rubbing my toothpick in it, and I'm adding it this way. Because I just want the smallest hint of blue. And I want it to be pretty much, see-through. I want it to kind of represent blue-green water, so to speak. But you can do it, however much you want to your liking. And now we can go ahead and pour that on top of the shells, because that has set for me. And this has lots of bubbles in it. I did not bother popping the bubbles because I like having them. This is going to be kind of under the sea. That original layer doesn't have bubbles, so you don't have to worry about them being near the surface or anything. So I'm just going to pour this into all of mine. What you want to do now is you want to sprinkle some sand in there, and if your mold is very domed, like if it's like half of a circle essentially, then the sand might drift towards that center, and the shells could have done that as well. So you want to wait till your resin thickens up. But in my case, these are not really deeply domed, so the sand will for the most part just stay where I pour it. It's just going to slowly sink. So if you want it, just on the very bottom, you want it everywhere where your shells are, so it's behind your shells, whatever you like, just go ahead and sprinkle it on there and let it sink in. Alright, so here's what that looks like. I used my little toothpick to move the sand a little bit, like where it was piled up, so it's nice and flat. So here's another option. You can drip a drop of alcohol ink onto your piece after. And I did that here as well. So this one's been sitting for a little bit. You can see it started to spread out. You can use like a toothpick to kind of make little lines if you wanted to, some kind of like little design. Just an option for you. So I'll be back and I'll show you guys what these look like once they've cured. So here are all of my results, and I really like the alcohol ink ones. They came out really neat, and the little patterns stayed. I actually ended up doing a little bit more, so the ones that you saw me do I think was this one and then this one, and I ended up just using a toothpick that was already dirty with the ink from these two and just swirling it a tiny bit in some of the others here. And so it just added a little bit of that blue. So I think that came out pretty interesting. Here's one without any of that. And this one also. So that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!